Hello, hi Nirmal ji, good morning.
Hello, good morning, ma'am. Hello. And we are starting in a minute. Just give a while.
We will start the session.
Good morning to all of you. We'll start the session in a while. We're just waiting for a few participants to join. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
सर फिर इनके सारे स्टेटमेंट बनाने पड़ेंगे तो ये तो बन नहीं सकता सर जी ओके सर मेल कर देते हैं एक्सपेंस के लिए क्योंकि
A very good morning to all of you present here. I, Manali Ghosh, Assistant Professor, Department of Management, Dr. M.C. Saxena Group of Colleges, would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all on behalf of the Department of Management, Dr. M.C. Saxena Group of Colleges, to this webinar where we'll be having some insights on the concept of investing, how it works, and what different opportunity it has for us to understand. I would like to thank the core management team of Dr. M.C. Saxena Group of Colleges for always motivating the group to conduct such sessions. My special regards to Dr. M.C. Saxena, Founder Chairman, and Dr. L. Shekhar, Chief Executive Director, for providing us this platform and opportunity under the Council of IIC to conduct the session. And I'm grateful to Dr. Tanuja Singh, HOD, Management and President MCSGOC for helping us to organize this event, which can help the youth to identify their potential and shape their with investment opportunities. Thank you, ma'am. So, investment is an excellent way to build wealth and plan for your financial goals. It's also the primary method for retirement, and it can help you to reach many other financial milestones along the way. Young people have the considerable advantage when it comes to investing. By starting at your 20s, rather than waiting until your later decades of your life, they can have the potential to grow significantly more wealth, take advantage of technological innovations, and taking the advantage of the slightly more risks also. Now I'd like to introduce our expert speaker for the day, Ms. Pujyashree Jetty. Ms. Pujyashree is a certified investment advisor from NISM, that is National Institute of Securities Markets. Prior to starting MoneyNook, she worked with Procter & Gamble as senior manager for 4 years. She did her MBA from NITIE, one of the top 10 MBA colleges in India, after securing 98.4 percentile in CAT. She did her bachelor's in computer science and engineering, where she was the gold medalist of her batch. Welcome, ma'am. I would now like to over this to ma'am Pujyashree. You can start the session now. I hope this will be very beneficial with your session today. We are eagerly waiting for this.
Thank you, Manali ma'am, for inviting me and having me here. And thank you, thank you, Nirmal sir, for inviting me. So I think without much further ado, let's get started and let's see how investing will help all of us, to have a better future for ourselves and our family. So I'll share my screen. Do let me know once you are able to see it. Ma'am, if you can enable screen sharing.
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah, I think it is enabled now. I'm just sharing this. Oh, no, not yet.
Ma'am, you can check.
Yeah, it is enabled. Thank you. So let me know once you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, I think it's visible to everyone.
It's visible. Okay. So let me get started with the session then. So I think Manali ma'am has already covered. This is my brief profile. So I'm a certified investment advisor from NISM, and I did my BTech in KLU and then MBA, and then I worked with P&G for 4 years. So now, the question you might be wondering is, why MoneyNook? Why did I start MoneyNook, and how will it help you to listen through this session? So before going into the details, I'll just show some figures which all of us keep in mind. The financial literacy. When I mean by financial literacy, the basic financial literacy that everyone requires is only 27% across India. And even by education level, for graduates, it's 43%, and for postgraduates, it's 31%. By income level as well, even for people in 20 to 50 lakh bracket, there is only 41% is the financial literacy. So I think looking at these statistics, which were furnished by National Center for Financial Education from their national survey in 2019, it is evident that we have a lot of scope for improvement to grow personally as well as to grow as a country together, right? Because when you look at developed countries across, such as US, Canada, Europe, etc., the financial literacy is around 60%. So we have good 35% to catch up. So that is my main motto behind starting this Money Nook. I want to increase the financial literacy as well as make managing our own money easier. The ultimate goal should be every person should be owning their own financial plan, should be able to control their money and spend it the way they want and be able to fulfill their lives' needs, wants, and inspirations. So that is what motivated me to start up Money Nook. Now, I'm assuming most of the participants in this session be students. So you would be thinking, right, we are really young. So why is investing important for us? Why should we learn about finances now? Why not at 30? Why not at later on? You know, when you start earning a bit more or when you have more responsibilities, so on and so forth. So I'll tell you the reason. Now, I want participation here. So you can ping on chat. If you get a chance to buy something, the same thing at 63% discount, 47% discount, 29 and 16 and no discount, which option would you choose? Either answer or you can either tap on the chat window. I have opened the chat window. 63% Sejal says. Okay. So Vamsi also says 63. I think most of us would agree, right? If given these options, all of us would go for the 63% option. It is very obvious, right? What we would choose. But let's have a look why I have given these options. Assuming that you and your classmates, I think you would have many friends in your class, right? One of you who started investing at 25 and you invested money only for 10 years. Every year you have put down 34,500 rupees, 25 years से 35 years tak, right? Yearly 34,000, I think we can manage 3,000 per month, most of us, right? And you did not touch that money till 60. Similarly, what your friend did, he or she started at 30, but they invested for 20 years and each year 46,000 rupees. Another friend did not even start at 30, they started at 35. And they had to invest for 25 long years and every year 78,000, right? So on and so forth. So if you look at these statistics, the amount you need to invest if you start at 25 is just 3.45 lakhs, 345,000. As if you start at 45, 42 lakhs is required ultimately to generate the same amount. All of you will end up with the same amount, which is 1 crore by the time you are 60. So if you start early, what you would require to invest to get that 1 crore at 60 is very less, very less. Because here the biggest advantage you have is compounding time. Whatever you invest now, it has a lot of time to grow, right? I think all of us know trees, right? Mango tree takes, let's say, around 5 years or sometimes even more to grow and give fruits. But it will last longer as well. The yield and everything is longer. Similarly, when you start investing early, you will have time to grow that money by multiple times by the time you retire. Just to quote a statistic, I think all of you know Warren Buffett, right? So he's very wealthy. I think around 80 to 90 billion dollars is what his wealth is now. And out of that, more than 95% or something, 90 or 95% is after the age of 50. 50 just because of compounding. He started really early and the money has compounded over time, and 95% of whatever he has now is after 50 years, and 99% is after 60 years. So you can imagine the power of compounding by this. So that is why it is very important. And for these calculations, I've assumed the average return as 23%, which is very much manageable, right? So now, another reason, if you're still not convinced, you guys will be getting your first salary. If you are in your final year, probably in 4-5 months, you'll start working and get your first salary. Even if you are in second, third year, you'll soon start earning, right? For you at this stage, if you start knowing about financial products and everything, it will help you to make the right choices. Because knowledge is power, right? If you don't know what is good, which product is good, then you will end up landing in a, taking a bad investment option, and some investment options you will stay stuck there. So it's very important for you to gain awareness early on. And like I said, power of compounding will be there. And at this age, most importantly, you don't have responsibilities. Most of you will have very few responsibilities. So this is the stage to learn, experiment, and grow. Right? So now let's get started. I think all of us agree with this example and especially the figures that we saw here. If you start at 25, you need to put in very less money, very less effort, and you will reach the destination easily, versus if you start at 45. And one thing I'll say, even if you're 45, if you're 40, 50, 55 as well, it's good to start, because today it will be easier than what it will be tomorrow, day after tomorrow. As days pass, it will become more difficult, right? So with this, let's just see. Now we agree that, okay, all of us should learn finances and everything. But why? Because all of us do a journey, right? You will have different life stages. Now you are a student, or now you might be a professor. Any stage, right? That is your professional stage. Personally, you might be a son, daughter, father, wife, anything, right? So you will have some responsibilities now. You have financial goals. You will have dreams that you want to enjoy. You might want to buy a MacBook. You might want to buy a fancy car. You might want to take your family to a vacation. All of these multiple goals that you will in this journey, right? In your life journey. So for them, you also need to have parallel financial plan. If you want to buy a car, you need to plan for it. If you want to go for a trip, you need to plan. Same thing for a house, same thing for your kids' education, for your marriage, anything. So now, how to reach the destination? Now I'll talk about a trip that me and my husband recently took. So we went from Hyderabad to Manali. Okay. So any of you traveled recently? I mean, at least before this Omicron wave? You can ping your answers on chat. Did you travel? If you traveled, what all things did you consider? Not there. Other says he has not been to Manali. Okay. Okay. So when you travel, what do you consider typically? You will consider what are the options that you have, right? Do you have a flight, train? Yeah, you can go by road if it is really close by. Or should you take a bus? All of these options, right? Similarly, when we went from Hyderabad to Manali, same things crossed our mind. Should we take a flight? If flight, where? To Delhi, to Chandigarh, or to Kullu Manali airport, right? And from there, how? All of these things go through our mind. We will typically decide on two factors. What is the cost that we can put? And the second, people who are speaking, if you can be on mute, I think that will be it. First thing would be the cost, and second thing would be the time that you would take for the journey. These are the two things that will come on top of your mind. But there are other factors as well. Who is going? What are their priorities? Right? Manali ma'am, if you can mute the other participants.
Yeah, just a second. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So, for whom? Because see, if I travel, it's okay if I have a bit of discomfort or something. But if my parents or if my grandparents are traveling, due to their age, their health conditions, probably you would take more precautions and all of these things. And your priorities matter. If you have a lot of time, okay, it's a leisure trip, then you will plan differently. But if you have just 3 days, just a long weekend, and if you need to plan a trip, then the trip would be different. Similarly, external factors. Pre-COVID, probably you would have chosen something else. But during COVID, if you need to travel, your options would change, right? So all of these things will matter for a simple thing as a trip that you are going. Now imagine, take a parallel to your life where we just talked, right? All of you will have different milestones: buying a car, buying home, going for your favorite holiday destination, doing something for your family, all of these things. So all of these things, for everything, you need to consider all these factors. How would you do that is what we will see in this session. First of all, imagine if you are planning a trip, you will do these things, right? You will know your destination, you will know the environment over there, you will know the options to reach there and how to spend your time there. You will analyze those options, then finally plan for it and you will start. Similarly, in your life as well, now you will have different goals and you need to understand what are the factors that are impacting those goals, and you need to understand what are the products that are available in the market. If you want to travel, you have car, you have flight, you have train, bus, all of this. Similarly, for your financial journey, what are the products that are available, right? And in those products, we will go deep dive into mutual fund basics. And lastly, we will consolidate whatever we have discussed and have a look at our goal calculator as well as retirement calculator. And we will know how to start this journey. I was in my, when I was about to just graduate, so I completed my MBA around 5 years back, right? So at that time for me, I wanted to travel as much as possible. That's the first thing I had in mind. The second thing, I want to, save and invest, because I was very clear even at that point that I will start something on my own, probably 5-6 years down the line. So I want to maximize my investments. So these were my two priorities at that point in time, right? Obviously, as you age and your life stages changes, these will keep changing. It's not a fixed list. Matlab, I decided these are my goals when I was 21, 22. So those will be my goals. It will not happen that way. This list will be ever evolving. But yeah, so I think you had a time to think through. So it must look something like this, right? If you are in 20s, so in the next 1 year, as soon as you graduate out of college, you might want to have your own rental place, right? And you want to give something to your parents. Then you would love to go to a trip with your friends, or probably even take your parents and siblings to a trip for their favorite destination. And you might be dreaming of buying a Mac, iPhone, all of these things, right? These would be a typical thing that you would be thinking soon after graduating what you want to do. Then probably 3-4 years after graduating, if you are looking to do a postgraduate degree or go abroad for higher studies, you might want to save something for that goal, right? And if you want to support your family for anything, you might want to think about that. Similarly, you will be planning more trips with your friends. You might want to contribute to charities, all of this. And as you progress, probably once you hit your 30s or 30 or 35s, then at that stage you might think, okay, I want a gadi, I want house. If you have a kid by then, you would want to think about their education. And good to have what dreams would be, okay, I need a really big house, I need to retire early, I need to travel abroad every year. All of these things would form dreams at that point, right? So this list is not fixed, by the way. For every individual, this is different. Someone, Europe trip might be a dream, but for someone else, they might be willing to compromise on house or want to go to Europe. There is no criticism here. It's individual's choice. And you have to understand your list and your friends list or even your partner parents list might not match. Right? Everyone's financial goals are very individualistic, and you have to discuss with your parents and to get married so that all are on a common page and work towards a common goal. Now that you know what your goals are, I'll ask you one question. Suppose you want to buy a car. Let's say, I don't know, I'm not very familiar with, I'm not very into four-wheelers, but let's say you want to buy Nexon, right? So would Nexon cost the same after 7 years, right? Probably you'll buy your car in your late 20s or early 30s, right? So will it cost the same?
No, ma'am.
You can ping.
No, ma'am.
No. How high will it may cost? So let's say now it is 12, 13 lakhs. It may cost probably 17, 18 lakhs or something like that, or 20 lakhs even, right? So why is it changing? The car is the same today. Tomorrow, after 5 years, they are not going to give you a BMW, right, or something else. They are going to give the same Nexon. Then why is it increasing?
Ma'am, features are updating day by day, and also, ma'am.
Yeah. So right, inflation is one of the main factors. Yes. Right. So see, now meet the demons and angels for your money. You have 3 things for anything long term, 3 things that will impact all of your plans. Even the plan might be as small as buying a Lay's packet, but that cost will change after 5 years. Why? As Sumit has rightly pointed out, inflation. Right? Whenever you talk to your grandparents, I'm sure they'll be telling you, right? Hamare zamane mein, we use 100 rupees is a very big thing. Probably the salaries at that point are less than 500 for most of the people, even less than 100. If you think about your grandparents' generation, right? Now for us, 100 means literally almost nothing, right? Everyone, if you step out auto, 40, 50 bucks at least, going and coming itself will cost you 100, right? So why? Inflation. Now the second thing, taxes and indexation. Let's have a look. First, inflation. Inflation for the last 40 years on an average has been 7% in India. So if I give you 100 rupees now, after 10 years, you can buy only half of the things which you could have bought today. Every 10 years, your money's value will become half, right? So now assuming you are in your 20, 21 years old, by the time you retire at 60, let's say if you need 10,000 today to live, at that point, you would need 1.5 lakhs for the same amount of expenses, for the same type of house, for the same type of, lifestyle, food, and all of this, you would need 1.5 lakhs for every 10,000 now. Let that sink in. Right? The second thing is tax. So for every 3 days you are going to work, you will end up getting paid only for 2 days. If you are in the 30% tax slab, you will get 100 rupees, 33%, 30% will go as a tax, and says everything combined is 31%. So for every 3 days you work, 1 day goes out, 2 days will come into your pocket. Remember that. For earning, I mean, it depends on the tax bracket you fall in, but once you hit that 30% tax bracket, this is what is going to happen. Now, as your income increases, obviously you will pay it more. First, you will start with 10% tax bracket, then 20, 30%, right? And not only your income, but let's say you bought a house, or you bought a shares, or you bought something, anything, you invested some money and you made profit out of that. even on that you need to pay tax. So whatever dreams you have of buying a car and everything, now let's say it is costing you 10 lakhs today.
नहीं.
When you when you buy it, keep in mind that you will need to account for inflation. Also, you would need to account for the tax that you might need to pay on whatever money you invested to buy that car. Okay. Now these are two things. Before you get too sad, there is a saving grace. Let me introduce you to indexation. So government has given us the indexation benefit. Since how to put it, if you bought a stock, obviously if the stock price increases in 5 years, some component stocks are not the right example because they don't have indexation benefit. Let's consider a house. If you buy a home, the price of the home increases by 50% after 5 years. The increase is not only due to increase in demand in your area, or probably it became a very good locality or something like that. Part of the increase is also due to inflation, right? Because everything is increasing in cost. Obviously, your house also will increase in cost. That is one part. And second part is due to, obviously, if your area has, some good school or some office areas has come near to your home, then also you will benefit out of it. Two reasons. So government don't want to penalize you for the first reason, which is inflation. Hence, what they said is, okay, we will put indexation, which will nullify the inflation impact. So whatever profit you gain due to inflation, that will not be taxable. And how to measure that? They have given some formulas which are used, which are not a part of this session, but I think you get the gist of it, right? Inflation will hurt you because you need more money. Second thing, tax will hurt you. Indexation will compensate a bit for this inflation. These three things you need to keep in mind when you're planning long term. 1 crore today is not 1 crore 10 years down the line. Please, please, please keep that in mind always. So now after all this, how do we survive the inflation, taxes, and how do we achieve our goals? This would be the question, right? The only answer is invest. And when I mean invest, I'm not saying invest in stock market, invest in mutual funds. There are multiple ways to invest. You have to explore what are the ways and which one will suit you, right? So, and then you have to get started on that journey. Because if you keep your money with you, you have earned 10,000 today and you are very careful with your money, you store that money in your cupboard. That is not going to help you. After 10 years, that 10,000 will become 5,000. The value will reduce by half. I mean to say, it will stay 10,000, but the value will come down by half. Similarly, FDs and these fixed income instruments, they are risk-free, but the returns they generate are no longer able to match your inflation. So you need to park some amount of your money there to safeguard you. But in order to grow your money, you need to invest in probably slightly higher return generating instruments. Let's have a look at what are the options we have. So I'll pause here because I think this would be the first time most of you would be, especially the students, might be first time that you are looking at these things. So I'm really sorry that I did not correct the abbreviations, my mistake here, but I'll just expand on that, right? So the first that you see here are tax saving investment options. In these tax saving investments, there are primarily 4 types. One is pension funds. I think you must be familiar with discussions in your house, right? Your mummy, papa, or even in your Ankit, sorry, I'm really sorry. These abbreviations it's my mistake. I'll just explain. So you must be hearing your mom, dad speaking, right? Ki PF mein paisa hai, right? What is this PF? So pension fund is one option where you keep investing from the time you start working, and ultimately when you retire, you can take that money out and have it as a retirement fund. So there are different pension funds like employee provident fund, voluntary provident fund, and PPF and national pension scheme. These are different options, right? Similarly, market linked. The first 4 first 3 you saw, EPF, VPF, and PPF. These are fixed return. मतलब government will tell you, ठीक है, इस quarter for whatever money you have in your EPF account, I will give you 8.5% return. So if it says 8.5%, it will give 8.5%. There is no debate around it, right? These are fixed return generating instruments. We talk them. Next one is market link. NPS, National Pension Scheme, and ELSS, which is Equity Linked Savings Scheme. Both of these, you invest money in the stock market, right? Or bond market, things like that. So their performance is not fixed. No one will say, okay, guarantee 7%, guarantee 15%. No, your return will be based on how the market is doing at that point of time. Similarly, again, other group of fixed return giving instruments, bank FD. I think all of you would have heard this, right? Bank mein FD dala or post office mein money dala. These types are fixed returns. And there is something called National Savings Certificate that also gives you fixed returns. Lastly, Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana, I'm sure all of you might have heard. This is an initiative which our Prime Minister started for female children, right? To help parents and families plan for their education, their marriage, all of this stuff. And the last one is Senior Citizen Savings Scheme. As the name itself suggests, it's for more than 60-year people. And then you have some tax expenses. If you take a home loan, you will get some tax exemptions. If you have an education loan, I'm sure some of you must have an idea, right? Once you start repaying it out, you will save tax. Similarly, medical insurance. If you buy insurance, you will get savings, etc. All of these things. So these are some of the options. The first block is you can invest and you can also save tax. The second block is you spend something and by spending that you are saving tax. Apart from these, you have other investment options, right? Stocks, mutual funds. I'm sure everyone would be at least hearing this, right? Sensex बहुत नीचे आ रहा है आजकल. Yeah, Nifty is growing, is going plus 200 points, plus 500 points, all of this, right? This is stock market. Then you have real estate. This must also be familiar because your parents, your uncles, cousins would be talking, अरे वो plot खरीदना, या apartments, all of these things. Right? In real estate also there are new options which have come up like REITs, fractional ownership, etc. Then you have other miscellaneous, right? Like you can invest in gold, you can invest in bonds, cryptos, P2P lending platforms, all of these things. So this might be a bit overwhelming for you to see all of these options at a single go. But what I would urge all of you, especially students who are in the final year, since you will start earning soon, start learning bit by bit about these options. Obviously, I'll cover one of these options, mutual funds, in much more detail. I'll also tell you how to start learning about them, because doing a wrong investment is more harmful than not investing, right? And sadly, the market around is so competitive that you have hundreds of companies and thousands of products which are competing for your attention and for your money. So it's very important that you choose the right product, right? So now you might have a question, right? Okay, all of these are fine. You have shown me 100 investment options now. How should I select which is good for me? Matlab, should I go for stocks or should I invest in PPF? What should I do? My mom is saying this, my dad is saying something else, my friends are doing something else, you know, my cousin is doing something else. What should I do? So first, understand the product. Every financial product has 3 characteristics, right? For example, if you talk about yourself, you will have some characteristics, right? Your friend will have a different characteristics. Some of you would be studious, some of you would be talkative, some of you are a good artist, right? So for some of you might be a go-to person to ask any help. Some of you might be very fun-loving. All of this, these are your characteristics. Similarly, every financial product will have 3 characteristics which are important for us. First is risk, right? Kitna risk hai usme. Second is return. Both of these are interlinked because see, if the return is higher, in most of the cases, the risk would also be higher. No one will reward you for not taking risk, right? So if I tell you without taking any risk, you will double your money, it is highly likely that it is a scam unless people are able to explain the logic to you. So always return and risk are interlinked, right? I'll tell you few examples, and last one, let me explain liquidity, then go for example. Liquidity means how fast can you convert that into cash, right? Currency is the most liquid form because it is already cash. Similarly, if you have money in bank savings account, you can just go to the ATM, withdraw. It is liquid. But if you have a house, is it liquid? You can just step out of your house and say, okay, I'm selling this house. Someone will give you 20 lakh, 30 lakh, 50 lakh, whatever is the cost, and you will just walk out. No, it is not possible because house is not liquid asset. I think now you are clear about the characteristics. Now let's evaluate. I bought a house, right? So in house, typically once at least the apartment is constructed, the risk is very less. Till that stage, there is a risk that builder might not complete the project and hand it over to you. But once it is completed, the risk is very less. Return, India में rental yield on the property is around 3%. मतलब अगर आपका 1 crore का घर है, तो most likely your rent will be 25,000 per month, which is 3 lakhs per year, around that ratio. So 3 to 4% is what you can get return money out of it. But at the same time, the property also will grow, right? You will get rent as well as your house cost is growing year on year. That will be around some 5-6%. So totally around 8-9% return probably, which is okay-ish, just beating inflation kind of thing. Next is liquidity. House is not at all liquid. You can't sell your house whenever you want, right? And you can't even sell it partly also. You can't say, okay, आज मैं bedroom भेजूंगी, कल hall को भेजूंगी. No, that won't work, right? But compare that to something like stock market. It is much more risky than real estate. Right? You might lose out money there. Return is higher than real estate. Stock market mein, if you're doing decently, you can get anywhere between 10 to 15% returns. Liquidity is high. So understand real estate, understand stock market. I'm not recommending you either of these, right? What you need to invest in depends upon other things. We'll see them shortly. But first you have to understand the characteristic. This is the core characteristic of the product. You can't change it. It can't be changed by you or me. It will stay as it is. And it will also get influenced by macroeconomy, what is happening around the world, in the country, so on and so forth. For example, COVID hua. So everyone thought that real estate is good because once you give it on rent, you will get fixed income. But what happened? In my locality, all the apartment buildings have at least 20-30% vacancy now. Right? So these factors will also impact our investments. You have to keep that in mind as well. Now, how to choose them? Real estate hai, stock market hai, 100 other options hai. So how to choose? Your personal circumstances. What are your goals? How much risk can you afford to take? All of these factors are important, right? For example, I want to plan for my kids' education, right? So that will happen some 20, I don't know when it will happen, after a long time, let's say 20 years later. So the timeline is very long and I can afford to take some risk now because since it is very long far off, I have time to recoup and everything like that, right? So probably for that goal, I can invest in a good mutual fund. Whereas let's say now I have another goal. So my parents' health treatment is coming in next 2 years. So will I invest in mutual fund then? Mutual fund will give me 15% returns, but will I invest? Because sometimes if market is not doing well, I might lose out the money I saved itself, right? And then if I can't help my parents, that will be problematic. And I don't have time. I have only 2 years from now to the time they need the money, right? So understand your goal, how important is the goal for you. If 2 years later I want to buy a Mac, if I lose the money also, it's okay. If I don't have Mac, nothing will happen. But if I don't give the money to my parents, that's a problem then. So your goal, the goal's importance and how far the goal is important. And next, your risk appetite and risk capacity. So for example, how do I put this? You are earning 1 lakh per month, right? And your expenses, everything is only 20,000. And future needs, everything also, you need only 20,000 more. So 40,000 is there, 60,000, even if you lose out, nothing is going to happen to you, your family, your lifestyle, your needs. So then you have the ability to risk, capacity to risk that 60,000, which is very high, right? On the other hand, let's say if you are spending 50,000 now and you need 30,000 for your future family needs, then you only have 20,000 rupees more to try out things. So understand your risk capacity. If something does not succeed, how will it impact you, your family, your lifestyle? All of this important. Risk appetite is your mentality. For someone, they might have high risk taking mentality. Some will have low risk taking mentality. That is the risk appetite. Risk capacity is how much money you can afford to take risk. What percentage of money you have, you can afford to take risk. Both are different. Always you should go by risk capacity. I mean, both will play a role, but even if you want to risk money, don't risk beyond your capacity. That's what I would suggest. So now the products will be there, and you will have your personal things. You need to match all of these and finally make an investment decision. I'll just show you a framework, but I think it will be difficult for you to interpret it. Just have a look. So I did this in terms of how far is your goal, long term, medium term, short term, and what is your risk appetite, high risk, and how informed are you. The other thing is also important. If you are not well informed, you should take lesser risks, because otherwise it will harm you, right? So based on this, I have divided some of the investment products that are available in the market. I'll share this in PPT, then have a look. So in this, just wanted to tell you, I have considered only popular investment schemes like stock market, banks, and financial institutions. I did not consider real estate, gold, and cryptos or other new age investment options that have come in, right? These are mostly the very famous and traditional kind of options that are available in the market. You can use this framework once you start, earning and investing. So now, out of all these hundreds of products, let's talk about mutual funds. I'll tell you my reasons why I chose mutual funds as well. Let's see. First, understand what's a mutual fund. Mutual fund, how many of you saw this ad? Mutual fund sahi hai.
Son, ma'am.
You saw? I think most of you would have seen, right? Mutual fund sahi hai, mutual fund sahi hai, right? So what is it about? Let's see. So let's say I have 3,000 rupees, which I can invest every month, right? And someone, let's say Sumit has 5,000 rupees. Then let's say Nirmal sir has 10,000 rupees, right? With 3,000, I can only buy some things. With 5,000, Sumit can buy, let's say, some more things. And with 10,000, Nirmal sir can buy more number of things, right? But in mutual fund, what happens is people like me, Sumit, Nirmal sir, all of us will pool in our money together, and this money we will hand it over to some company, right? And they will buy more stocks, bonds, gold, etc. Like this, hundreds and thousands of people will pool in all of their money, and together the assets are bought, right? So why we should do that? Why can't I, just invest my own money? Why should I consider this? So this is the main reason. First one is diversification. If I invest the money I have, I can only buy so many things, right? I can probably with 3,000, I can buy 4-5 shares or something. That is the extent that I can diversify. That's it. But if there is, let's say, mutual funds have crores of rupees, right? So with that crores of rupees, They will invest in multiple different types of stocks and gold, bonds, all of these things. So when you do that, your risk is reducing, because if one stock is not doing well, other stock will do well, right? So risk will come down. Obviously, you might ask, ma'am, if I select the best stock available and it gave me, let's say, 200-300% return, whereas mutual fund will not give that much return. Agreed. But the point is, you should have the time and the ability to select that best stock, right? If you have that, go for it, all the means. But if you don't, then mutual fund would be a very good option, because you are diversifying, you are reducing your risk, and it is professionally managed. Okay. So who handles it? There are companies like ICICI Securities, Axis Bank, Nippon India. I think once you search mutual funds, you will get to hear all these names. These companies manage it, and they charge a fees for us, which is called expense ratio. Just want to clarify here, I am not associated with any mutual fund company, neither am I a mutual fund distributor. So don't worry that I am selling you mutual funds, nothing of that sort. Okay. So now, why I say mutual fund is the preferred mode of investment? Because I have worked for 4 years, and I'll tell you the mistakes I did. In the first 2 years of my working, I invested most of my money in stock market, right? I used to follow the news, do my bit of research, and I invested. Well and good. After 2 years, what has happened? I got a lot more busy in my job, right? I did not have time to follow the markets or make proper investment decisions. So what I did, whatever is the money I have left, my savings, I just left it in the bank. That's it. So for 2 more years, this continued. After that, I quit the job to start Moneynook. That's a different story. But you are getting it right, because I did not have time to research. I did not invest for 2 years. This will happen for most of us. There is high chance, because you will get busy in your day-to-day life. Job dekhna hai. You have to talk to your parents, your spouse, kids, as they come in, all of these things. So in that sense, mutual fund is professionally managed. If you choose a good mutual fund, again, this is very important, because if you don't choose the good fund, it is better to put your money in bank, FD, right? So if you choose a good mutual fund and follow news even once in a while and keep reviewing it once in 3 to 6 months, that is good enough. So, and the starting investment in mutual fund is very less. I think less than 500 rupees is what I believe most mutual funds need. And you can do it every month. So most of us would have at least 500 to spare, right? If someone is saying you don't have 500, I would request you to not order Swiggy for 1 week. You will get 500 rupees and you can invest them. Okay. So fine, all of this is fine. How will it work? Let's say you invested 1000 rupees. Mutual fund will have something called units, right? Usually stock market you will hear, right? TCS, one share is 3,500. All of Asian Paints is 2,000, right? Similarly, mutual fund will have units. So let's say when you invested 1,000 rupees, 1 unit is 100 rupees. Then you are allocated 10 units. After 1 month, wherever the mutual fund has invested the shares, their cost has increased. Matlab they gave profits, right? Then your unit cost will become 110. So now your investment value is 1100 rupees. Similarly, if wherever this mutual fund invested, if that stocks are not doing well, then your investment may become 900 rupees as well. It may come down, it may come up. This will keep on happening, but this is how it will work. So whenever you invest money, you are given some units of the mutual fund on your name. Okay. Unit is nothing. Matlab, see, like I said, if hundreds of us are pulling money, let's say 1 crore rupees is what a mutual fund has. It will have hundreds of crores, but I'm just making up. So it has bought some 10,000 TCS shares, 50,000 Infosys shares, all of these things. So they will divide that in parts and give us in units. That's it. So now, do you know how many mutual funds are available in India? I think I have shown already 2,500. So now again, back to our question, how should you select them? Simple, back to basics, just quickly recapping. Even mutual funds will have returns, risk, liquidity, and their basic characteristics. So you have to match them with your goals, your needs, your risk appetite, risk-taking capacity. Match. How do we do that? Let's see. Don't get boggled by this. I'll just simplify and explain this this slide. Okay. So, like we talked in the starting, mutual funds, there are a lot of assets, right? You can invest in stocks, you can invest in gold, all of this. So based upon where the mutual fund is investing its money, you can classify into 5 types. One is equity. Equity is nothing but stocks. Second is debt. Debt is nothing but bonds. And third is hybrid, matlab mix of stocks and bonds, right? Fourth is gold. Fifth is real estate. I think these two are straightforward, right? So based upon where this fund is putting their money, you have 5 types. You can choose. Which one will you choose? People who are young, in 20s or 30s, and if your goal is very far away, then you should choose equities. Why? Because equities will give you maximum return over time, and the risk also will get reduced over the time, right? If you are someone near retirement, then you should choose debt, right? Because debt the return is comparatively lesser than equity, but the risk is also very low and it is manageable. So based upon your need, you will select which type of mutual fund. That is what is investment objective. Again, what is your investment objective? Are you looking to grow money, or are you looking to get fixed income every month, or are you looking to just park your money for the time being before you invest it somewhere, right? Then you need liquidity. All of these things are important. For example, if I suddenly receive 10 lakhs today, and let's say I have thought, okay, I will buy a small plot, but that plot I need to buy after 6 to 7 months only. Then what I will do? Bank will give me FD of 4-5% types, right? Instead of that, I might choose to invest in liquid fund where there is almost no risk of losing money, but the return is also almost bank FD jitna ya slightly more, right? I might choose to park it here in the liquid fund. But if I park it in growth fund, what will happen? If market is doing well, it will go up. If not, it will come down to 6-7 lakhs and I can't buy the plot, right? So why you are putting your money there is again most important. Next one is fund structure. See, some mutual funds, they are always open. Always open means you can go any day and invest money there, right? Similarly, you can withdraw anytime. Some are closed, means they'll say, okay, I am now opening a new mutual fund. They'll collect all the funds, then they will close the fund. No new entrants, you can't come. It is like, imagine college admission. College admission mein you don't, second year, third year, fourth year, no one can come and join your class, right? Only first year they will open, then they will close, right? Whereas open mutual fund is like online classes. All these Byju's and everyone, whoever is available, whenever you want an admit, they will give, you will attend the course, khatam, right? So that similarly, mutual funds may also, you have both these structures. And the third thing is there is something called interval. Interval mein what happens is they open once in 3 months, once in 6 months or something of that sort, and then they'll close again. This is fund structure. For you who are young, it is better to go for open mutual fund where you will keep investing money regularly. Every month, jaisa salary aaya, waisa invest karo. That's the best.
Ma'am, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
If I want growth and income both, then how should I go for it?
Okay, if you want, then you should go for a hybrid fund, Vibha. So where you will have in hybrid fund, what happens is a component of it, a percentage of whatever money you give is allocated to equities, a percentage of it is for debt. So you can choose the mix according to your needs.
Okay.
Next is management of portfolio. So see, this is very important for everyone. So pay attention if you are not paying till now. Mutual funds are managed in 2 ways. One is active, means there is some fund manager who will who will, actively select which stock to invest, which bond to invest, how can I get maximum profit. They will do a lot of research and they will do investments. These are active funds, right? Then there are passive funds. In passive fund, no one will think anything. Nifty and Sensex, I think you guys might have heard these quotes, right? Nifty is top 50 companies in India, Sensex is top 30 companies. They have some other criteria also, but broadly this is the definition. So what these passive funds do, whatever is there in Nifty, they will just buy that in the same percentage. Whatever is there in Sensex, they will buy the same, right? So passive funds, there is how market is moving, you will get the same return, right? So in a way, if you are a beginner and if you don't have idea about mutual funds, the best thing is start investing in passive funds, because here no one is using their brain. There is, you move along with market. You will not lose more than what market has lost. And over the years, in the long term, market has consistently generated more than 12% returns. So the best thing, if you are a beginner and if you don't have idea of mutual funds, go for passive fund. Whatever anyone says, go for this. You can read research about this, read from good websites. When I mean good websites, Economic Times, Mint, these kind of websites, read and research, they would recommend the same thing. But why people generally don't recommend passive funds? Because commission is not there or commission is very less. Expense is very less. Koi manage nahi kar rahe, to what is the expense for the company, right? So keep that in mind. This is one of the best ways to go for when you start investing. Next is mode of investment. Direct and regular. This is straightforward. If you have an agent or broker through whom you are investing, then they will get a commission. So your expenses would be more. So that is regular way. Direct is you don't have any broker. You yourself directly are investing via Zerodha, Grow, Upstocks, all of these websites, or even directly with the company, but you are doing it direct, right? So if you are someone who is well aware, go for direct. If you are not aware, then if you trust the distributor, trust the agent, then go for regular, right? Because if you are relying on their advice, you need to know how much they know and how much you can trust them. Next is mode of distribution. This is again same. So no, somewhat different. So what happens is, if a mutual fund is getting profit, there are two ways. One thing, you can reinvest the profit into that fund, which is growth mode, or you can take a dividend out. All right. It is your choice how you do it. So these are the basics of mutual funds. Given most of you are students, for you, equity would be the better mode with growth as an option and open fund structure. Start off with passive funds if you don't have time to research. Once you researched and have some good advice and good idea, go for well-managed active funds, right? And preferably direct mode of investment, but again, it's a choice. You can choose either ways. Now that I recommended equity, let's see how many types again within equity. I'll not take much time on this slide. In equity also, there are different types. Stocks there are hundreds and thousands of listed companies in India, right? Out of them, you might have heard large cap company hai, blue chip company hai. Matlab kya hai? So take company like TCS, company like Infosys, HDFC Bank, Asian Paints. All of these are very big companies. Their value, their market cap is in TCS is like, I think 14-15 lakh crores or something. So these companies, unka character kya hai? Ek baar soch lo. They don't grow so high. Matlab unka growth 20%, 30% aisa nahi hoga. They grow fixed percentage, 5%, 10%, whatever it is, but they grow consistently. The probability that they will fall is very less. Stable type of companies, right? So when you are starting out, better to invest in these type of companies. Mid cap is, they have growth potential a lot, but they also have a sizable business already. Small cap is even less size of business, a lot of growth potential. To understand this concept easily, think about, I think your college is based out of Lucknow, right? So Lucknow city center, if you have to buy something, it is like large cap. City center mein what, there is less probability of land cost going up, right? Even if it will go up, it's, imagine if you are buying something in the outskirts, very far away. If development happens in that zone, the returns you will get is very high, right? If flyover is coming, or if some SEZ is coming up, some industry is coming up very in the outskirts, and if you have land there, the returns will be like 10x, 20x, 30x. So this outskirts wala land is like small cap, where the potential is high, but it may go utter flop also. Like if the industry is not coming up, then it will remain the same only. Agriculture land will remain agriculture land if nothing is changing, right? Similar thing is for small cap. So large cap, low risk, low return, mid cap, medium risk, medium return, small cap, high risk, high return. Then there is a combo of funds, like large and mid cap दोनों में invest करने वाले, या multi cap and flexi cap, they invest in all three. All of these things, these are the types. I'm not going much more into detail. So, okay, these many funds are there. How should I select? Now comes the critical point, and I'll briefly explain this thing. Whenever you are selecting something, what will you look? How much returns are they generating, right? How consistent are they in giving that result? And to give that return, how much is the risk they are taking? If they are risking 200% and giving me 10 rupees, if they are risking 100% and giving me 10 rupees, I will choose the second option, right? Less risk, more return is what I will choose as much as possible, because that shows the efficiency of the fund manager, right? Volatility is again same. How much is it fluctuating? Is it fluctuating more than the market or less than the market? That is important. Performance versus benchmark is again same. How is it performing versus the market? If you see, most of the mutual funds are not performing above the market. That is one more reason for you to invest in passive funds. Only well-managed funds are giving you a lot of high returns. You can go for them, right? Now, all of these things again are different parameters, like how expensive, how much they are charging you. If you want to exit the fund, how much are they charging you? Are there any restrictions around that? Then who is the fund manager? What is the fund manager's experience? How much of his or her own money did the fund manager invest in this mutual fund? All of these things come into play. AUM is basically how much fund they are managing. For example, someone like ICICI managed 20-30,000 crores also, whereas small players manage 200-300 crores. So how much is it? How well known is it? All of these things, right? Based on this, you should select. And once you selected how to invest, either you can invest lump sum, matlab 1 lakh hai to 1 lakh aaj ka aaj dala. Second thing is SIP for students and working professionals, matlab who are going to start working. This is best because every month you get salary. Every month invest to fix it 3,000, 5,000, whatever you can put aside, put into SIP mode, right? STP and SWP not applicable now because STP is systematically transferring, SWP is systematically withdrawing. Why all of these systematic options have come up? Just to briefly explain you. When you do it over time, every month, same amount or something, the ups and downs get averaged out in the market. That's the only reason. So for you guys, SIP would be the best mode. Also, I'll take a moment to pause. So I'm conducting full workshop on these equity mutual funds and covering all the topics. Mutual funds, what are the basics that you need to understand? How should you select? What are the parameters you should keep? How should you design and manage your portfolio to meet your goals? And how to generate wealth in the long term? I'm sharing a link for registration in the chat box. People who are interested can register. This is for February 11th, 12th, and 13th. You can have a look at the full brochure and things in my website, and you can register if you are interested. I'll be happy to have you over there. I put the link in the chat. And Dr. Vinamrata was asking for PPT. Ma'am, yes, I'll definitely share the PPT. No worries. So all of this is good. I have started with mutual fund. I have invested. Is it sufficient? How would I know? Because 10 years later, I want to buy a home. What I'm saving, is it good enough or not? 3 years later, I want to go to Goa to a trip with my friends for a trip. Is it good enough? How to check? So for that, I have a goal-based calculator. I'll quickly run you guys through it. I think we are 20 minutes is the time. So let me be a bit brief. Don't get afraid looking at the Excel. It is simple. All the gray cells, you need to enter the inputs. Remaining, it will calculate itself. Now see, you want to go to Goa, right? After 1 year. And you want to buy a bike after 2 years. You want to go to Europe after 5 years. And you're planning to get married after 7 years. So you want to have some money to set up your household and all of these things. Right? Typically, abhi is age mein, student age mein, yahi cheez hota hai, mostly. So if that is the case, just put down what you, that is the case, put down aaj ka aaj, if you want to go to Goa trip, how much it would cost. If you want to buy a bike, how much it would cost. Europe, how much it would cost, and marriage, how much it would cost. And put the inflation. Average inflation in India is 7%. You can just put 7%. But some things, especially luxury goods, education, and healthcare, all of these inflation is higher than the average inflation. So you can just Google it out and put 8%, 10%, whatever is applicable. Right? Put it down here. Then it will automatically show you what is the future cost. Now, to fund this, I'm sure you must be saving or investing somewhere. Whatever is the return you are getting, put it down here. Let's say you are getting 12%. I'm just making up, put down 12% here. And put whatever is the tax on that. So you will get the post-tax return here automatically. And this is the corporate, this you ignore this line, right? So I'll explain this later a bit. So once you have put down this, imagine you start working this April, say, and every month you are investing 5,000 rupees, right? Oh, this is again an input, sorry. Every month again you are investing 5,000 and you plan to increase that amount 10% every year. Increment, promotion is sab to hoga. So you will increase along with that. And rate of return 12%, you have put down here already. So 60,000 first year what you invest will become plus 66,000 second year you will invest. You will get somewhere around 1,33,000. From that you are withdrawing money because you want to go to Goa. For that you are withdrawing and after tax you are getting 32,000, right? Similarly, wherever you have a milestone, withdraw the money you need and spend it. Now see, how is it going? You can see here slightly you got a minus, right? Because you don't have that much fund, but that's okay. Again, you started. So you can check sufficiency. If I do this thing, is it sufficient or not? Just make a small Excel for yourself and calculate, right? I'm showing this in a very simple way, but real life mein matlab thoda or complicated hoga because not everything will generate 12%, right? And if something 12% means typically equity hoga. So when you invest in equity, probably the year before you want it, it might go low. All of these things will exist. So I put down a general thing as well. So for example, bade hone ke baad kya hoga? Home loan, child marriage, education, all of this stuff, right? So usually what is recommended is if you invested in equity, then if your goal is 10 years away from now, first 6-7 years, keep it in equity, that's okay. Once it is coming nearer now, withdraw from equity and save it in fixed, matlab more stable investments like bank FD, liquid funds, debt mutual funds, these kind of things, because you don't want to risk these things, right? So this is the table you can use for that. I'm not going much into detail, but I'll definitely be sharing this sheet with you guys. You can have a look. And one thing I would request all the students is make a brief plan of you. This will help you guys. Next Next thing, this is specifically for, it's for students as well, but specifically for people who are, coming closer in their 30s, 40s, who are closer to retirement. So there is a retirement calculator as well. Let me just open. Again, I'll quickly wrap it. So you just need to enter very few things. First is your current age, by when you are targeting retirement, and life expectancy, given the medical advances and everything, we expect to live till 80s at least. So put down that number and imagine what would be your monthly expenses. आज का आज आप retire हो गया, तो retirement के बाद you will have a lifestyle, right? How much would it cost at current cost? Put down that number. Inflation अपने आप calculate हो जाएगा. So here I've taken inflation 6.5%. You can change it to 7, 8, whatever you feel like. Indexation is, this is 1.106 in India standard, right? So you can use this number. Now, all of you will not save the same way for retirement, right? Some of you would invest in equity, some of you would invest in debt, some would invest in real estate, some in gold. A mix of all of this also can happen. But the return on everything is not same, right? Equity is 12 to 15%. I've taken conservative here. So you can increase slightly, even debt you can increase slightly. So returns would be different and tax rate would be different. So tax rate for till gold, it is fixed. FD tax rate is based on your tax slab. So you can edit that out here. And if you have any other assets apart from this, enter the rate of return, tax rate. Now, for this person who is 21 now and targeting retirement by 45, assuming he or she will live till 90, that person would need, if they have an equity oriented portfolio where majority of their investments are concentrated in equity, they would need 7 crores for retirement. If it is in debt, they would need 9 crores. You see, the number has changed. Why? Because debt mein returns are lower. Risk is also lower. So the more conservative your portfolio is, you would need more money. So I have put 5 sample portfolios. You can choose any one: equity, debt, real estate, aggressive portfolio. Aggressive mein dekho, this person has put 80% in equity, right? Conservative mein only 10% in equity. You can choose any one, whichever you are comfortable with, and you can even design your own portfolio. You will say, I don't want any of this. This is my portfolio. Equity 20, debt 20, equity mutual funds 20, index funds 10, real estate 30. Or you can change. You can put whatever numbers you feel like. You will get how much money you need by the time you retire, right? And this is including inflation and everything. Agar inflation ko hata diya, aaj ka value mein, this is 1.5 crores. Okay, this is after what 20-30 years ka cost hai. So obviously the figures will be higher. No need to worry. This is your monthly expense. Now, apart from monthly expenses, you will have one-time expenses: child education, marriage, home loan, all of these things. If those are completed before marriage, that's okay. If not, how much would you need is captured here. As you can see, in this case, you would need 3 crores on top of the 7 crores there. You again, this is same as goal-based investment table we saw. You have to input the current cost, the inflation you expect, and where you are investing, uska return kitna hai, and what is the tax. So if you see here, just make a note, 3 cells are highlighted in red. Why? If you see child education mein inflation is 10%, but where I am investing, the return is 10%, and on that 10% I have tax of 31%. So I am actually making only 6.8% return, and inflation is at 10%. So I am not matching. That is why it is in red. So you need larger corpus in these cases. So I'll share the sheet again with you. Will not spend much time. I think we have gone a bit more into technicalities. So now let's get back to the basics. All of this is fine. We talked about what is our goals, how to start investing for them, what are the options we have, and we have looked at mutual funds in much more detail. Now, how to start, how to implement. First thing, for mutual funds, start with an index fund. You will move in line with market, and market has generated more than 12% returns. You will be safe if you have a long-term horizon in mind. After doing that, understand mutual funds. Gradually, thoda follow news, follow good channels. Like I recommended Economic Times and Mint. These are very good. You can follow them. Once you understand, select good large cap mutual funds and then invest in them. Large cap may comparatively fluctuations low high. After you have gained sufficient confidence, then explore. Go to mid cap, small cap, all kinds of things. Explore and start investing. You can even directly invest in stocks once you become confident. But as I said, doing the wrong investment is more dangerous than not doing investment. Better to keep an FD. So Economic Times, Mint are the newspapers that you have to follow. And specifically for mutual funds, there is something called ET Money. I'm just pinging the name also. ET Money is one thing. Then you have Morningstar and Value Research. These are all good players, good research they give. So check them out. They'll give you rankings of the funds and all of these things. Check them out, right? This is how you can start mutual fund investment journey. And if you are interested, like I shared, you can join my workshop to know much more in detail. Apart from this, do's and don'ts. This is not related to mutual fund, but generally. First thing, everyone, 3 to 6 months of whatever expenses you have, you should have it in emergency fund in bank or liquid funds. It should not be in cryptos. It should not be in stocks. It should be in no risk investments, which you can take anytime if you have an emergency. Second, take insurance for the sake of insurance, not for tax saving. Tax save karne ke liye, there are 100 ways other than insurance. So when you are taking insurance, check if this is what you need. Is it giving you and your family sufficient coverage? Check these points out. Third thing, budget. So starting from when you earn, 50, 30, 20 is the popular budget. Isme 50% they suggest ki needs, matlab house rent, food, all of these mandatory things to spend. 30% for things you enjoy, like going out for a movie, having, ordering food or pursuing your hobbies, all of these things, 30%, 20% save and invest. This is the minimum you should do. If you can do more, it's great. Day one investing, select an index fund to start off with, gradually know and understand more financial products and make the right decisions. Don't get into debt trap. Credit card is very easy, but don't get into that loop. Credit card interest is 36%. Dunya mein there is no business or no work that can give you 36% returns. So don't get into that trap. And then lifestyle inflation. मेरा promotion हो गया, ठीक है, और बड़ा घर, और बड़ा गाड़ी. So there is no limit to it. Obviously, you have to enjoy whatever you have earned, but also keep a tab. Are you going too high? Keep a tab of that always. Next, home loan in your 20s. I'm not saying this is a complete no, but if you are not very sure where you will settle, which city you will leave, which office, matlab, आजकल we are shifting offices also very frequently, right? So once you get a clarity on these things, it's better then to buy rather than just buying it and being not able to live in that house. Because house is an asset very great in terms of generating returns. It's very great in terms of saving your money, but not so preferably if you're going to live, buy in that city. That will just. Next is investing without understanding asset. ULIP and LIC. These guys will be after your life as soon as you get your first paycheck. So don't buy them without understanding them. Right? The protection, the life insurance they give is less than 10 lakhs most of the cases. So would 10 lakhs be enough insurance actually for you guys? No, right? So think and buy the products. Last but not least, always talk about your finances with your parents and with your spouse. And you might think me silly, but I know many people who don't understand their taxes. So start with that first. And automate everything, because you don't remember in hundreds of things. So first thing, your salary hits your bank, your savings and investment should go out into the investment wherever you have invested, and you have to spend what is left. And automate your SIPs, your bill payments, all of this. There are multiple apps out there: Walnut, IND Money, Money Control, ET Times, Mint, all of these. Have them installed. I'll share this PPT with you. You can have a look then. Have them installed and automate things for you. Make your life simple. Now, the last question I have for you guys, for everyone here. This is my favorite slide and I have it in every presentation I do, most of the cases, right? So would any one of you run a marathon, which is like 42 kilometers, and then sit down just before touching the finish line? Would any one of you do that? Looking for answers. Would any one of you do this? Run a marathon and then not touch finish line? No. Vamsi, Vishwajit says no. Right? We would not do it. But trust me, there are many people who did that. In India, currently 82,000 crore rupees. Mark the number, 82,000 crore rupees is lying with banks, with mutual funds, and with insurance companies because no one is claiming them after the person who deposited that died. Why? Why is that happening? Because they're not communicating with family. They are not sharing the details of investments with the family. They are not sharing the documents and passwords with the family. Not sharing the contact details of the bank, of the mutual fund agent, whom should be contacted. They are not updating their nominees. Updating the will. Right? So these are the basic things you should take care of. COVID has taught us more than anything that life is fragile, right? So if you are no longer there, if I am no longer there, my family will already be burdened emotionally. I don't want them to feel burdened financially as well. So please take care of all these basic things. Set these things right. These are one-time efforts. Do that. Don't miss out on that. Because if you miss out, you will add to that 82,000 crore rupees. It is like working hard, then understanding all these investments, doing the investment, and then letting it lie there, right? So please take care of this point always. And now it's time for review. I'll just ping one form for you guys. Sorry, I would request you to please give a review on how you felt the session was, what could be improved, any feedback you have. You can even talk it out here. But if not, if you're not comfortable, then please put that down on the form, because this will help me to improvise and do better for my next sessions. And I'll share my social media links as well. But if you can join my Telegram channel or my YouTube, that would be good. One thing I would urge all the students who are here is LinkedIn is a very important medium. I don't know how many of you are active, but I would suggest you to update your LinkedIn accounts. And even if you're not looking at it daily, keep a tab on it, because it has changed from being just a platform to search jobs. It's no longer just a platform to search jobs. It has evolved a lot, and it is very imperative that you follow it, right? So I'll just wait for a couple of minutes for you guys to give the review. And feel free to ask any questions that you might have. So someone is asking, does mutual fund invest in any type of securities that could cause the values to go? Yes, because mutual funds are, like they say in the ad as well, are subject to market risk. So let's say now, take the past 1 week, market is going down, right? So if that happens, you can lose 10, 20, even 30% of your wealth at one go. But understand, once you invest over a longer time period, this ups and downs will average out, and the average growth will be higher if you choose a good mutual fund, right? So that would always be there.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Do investment require technical knowledge to understand? From where would we get the knowledge?
Okay. So Swati, I would not say it would require a very deep amount of knowledge, but for you to acquire the knowledge, I would suggest again, ET Money, Mint, start reading them and understand. So you'll get to know more about that.
Okay.
And it's not something which you can't learn with 10, 20 hours of knowledge, at least mutual fund part. Stock market, if you want to invest in stocks directly, that would require more amount of time to learn. But mutual funds, this tax savings, basic investments, this you can easily manage.
Yes.
And sorry, I forgot to tell you this book for everyone out there. Let's Talk Money. This is by Monica Hallen. So she was an editor for both Mint and Outlook Money. So one of the most famous books in Indian context, and something which every beginner should definitely read. It will give you a holistic perspective about how to start investing and everything. You can also search for her on internet, Monica Hallen. And
Okay, ma'am.
when I suggested a book, don't think that it will be boring. She talks about it in very conversational style, so I think you will enjoy that. Yeah, Swati, sorry, I interrupted you.
Yes, ma'am. After doing MBA, what are the different job profiles we can get where we can use this concept of investment, like mutual funds or stocks?
Okay, so typically you can get into investment banking or these kind of profiles, equity research analyst profiles. So all these funds like ICICI, Nippon, whatever funds we have quoted, they have fund managers, they have analysts, and all of these folks who will analyze the markets and analyze the situation macroeconomy. So those are some of the job profiles that would be available if you want to go into a corporate finance kind of career or investment banking kind of career. Apart from that, companies also have core finance jobs. For example, if you go take FMCG industry, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I work with Procter & Gamble. There also you have finance managers working on multiple aspects like pricing, costing of goods, all of these things.
Okay. And last question is, with the limited earnings and so many expenses, then how can we go for investments?
Very fair question, Swati, because when we start earning, the amount of money we earn would be comparatively lesser, right? As we get promotions and all, it will increase. So even if you are able to save just 500 rupees end of the month, that's perfectly all right? Because all these options, except real estate, which requires a lot of investment, most of the options start with 500 rupees only, right? So start putting that money, because in fact, in a way, it would be good for you because you are not risking a lot of money. It will be a good learning curve as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Like I told, just start off with start with one index fund and look at one tax saving ATC option. If you start there, then gradually your curiosity will come, right? Acha, theek hai, let's imagine you put your money in one index fund. Then next day onwards, you will start looking, acha, how is market doing, right? How is my money going to perform? From there, you will start knowing more information, and gradually that knowledge curve also will increase.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Aptek is asking how liquid is mutual funds. You can sell them right away. That is not an issue. But the issue is, see, for example, today you needed money. You can sell it today, but market is at a loss now. So obviously your investment would have tanked. You would be selling at a loss if you sell right now. So always keep that in mind. That is why I said emergency ke liye jo money chahiye, that you don't invest in mutual funds or any kind of things which fluctuate, right? Put that in bank. Apart from that money, when you invest here, even if it goes down, you would not need it immediately, most of the cases, all right? So that way it will stay safe. And someone has asked about, I think Rahul has asked about arbitrage funds. So Rahul, arbitrage funds are, to be very frank, are a very highly specialized area, right? Because they look for arbitrage between markets and currencies and things like that. And I would not recommend whether it's good or bad, because it is to evaluate those kind of funds, the expertise required would be much higher.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, can you tell me about the thematic fund?
Yes. So thematic funds basically, see, if you take telecom sector, right? Or take now EV sector, everyone is talking about electronic vehicles, right?
Right, ma'am.
So what thematic funds do is they select a theme. Consider construction as a theme. So they invest in companies which are into construction. That can be like Prestige, Lodha, all of these things which are directly in construction business, or they can invest in cement companies. They can invest in these ceramic companies. All of these are used in housing construction, right? So if that theme is doing well, for example, now is the time of housing boom, then these thematic mutual funds returns will be higher. IT is doing well, so these funds will give higher. But if the sector is not doing well, then they will tank heavily. Again, thematic mutual funds as well as sectoral. Sectoral means thematic ka thoda niche hai, they will select specific sector. Like within themes also, they will select cement industry, they will select construction industry, matlab residential construction, so on. Very specific jayenge. So these two will have high risk and high return based upon how that industry is doing. Again, if you are confident on the industry and if you are well aware about the industry, then only I would recommend to bet, because their diversification is lost because you are betting on a single industry.
Ma'am, right now market is collapsed as per scenarios going on. So which fund is good for investment?
I'm sorry, like I said, I would not be recommending any particular funds or to buy, to sell or anything.
Whether is it in large cap or mid cap?
See, again, it depends upon your risk appetite, on how you feel, how long is your goal, and everything. It is not one shoe size fits for all.
Okay.
And I would not be going into a specific recommendations.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And Akanksha is asking about how much will the fund charge me when I buy my shares. Okay. So Akanksha, typically expense ratio is anywhere between 0.5% to 2%. That's what they're gonna charge you. When you search for funds, you will also have a list of expense ratios, how much a particular fund is charging and things like that.
And if we are talking about future wealth creation, then what are the career opportunities for people?
Swati, sorry, I did not get your question. For future wealth creation?
Yes, ma'am. If we are talking about future wealth creation, then what are the career opportunities we can look for?
Okay. So Swati, both of them are different things. You can be in any career that you are planning for. You can be in supply chain, you can be in marketing, you can be in finance, any career. And wealth creation is independent of that. Because for wealth creation, you are going to invest whatever you're going to save out of your earnings, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So both the things are different. But if you are asking about what is the most lucrative industry currently, it looks out to be IT industry. And sometimes I do feel bad that, yeah, computer science, may I have done BTech, got a gold medal as well in that. Why did I leave? Few days I feel like that, but then again, what happened. So wherever you are currently, whichever field you are, there is always scope to excel.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else having any other questions? Otherwise, we need to wrap it up. All right. So on behalf, ma'am, very thank you for this insightful session. So on behalf of Dr. MC Saxena Group of Colleges, I would like to thank our expert speaker, Ms. Pujyashree Jetty, for taking out her valuable time and enlighten our participants and us also with one of the most discussed topic on investment market. So I would request all the participants to stay back because there is some announcement regarding your e-certificates also. And I would like to thank Ms. Dr. MC Saxena, the chairman and founder, the Dr. MC Saxena Group of Colleges, who has not only inspired many young colleges, who has not only inspired many young generations, but he is a legend and visionary for long-term investment. My special thanks goes to the core team of Dr. MC Saxena Group of Colleges and Dr. Iker for their continuous support and motivation in exploring new ideas in entrepreneurship and skill development. So we are continuously doing it and they are encouraging us to do that more. So this webinar would be incompleted without mentioning the special guidance and support received from the Department of Management, Dr. MC Saxena College, and the Institution Innovation Council. They are about to bring a change in institutional entrepreneurship, and we are definite the college students and faculties and the entrepreneurs going to benefiting out of it. So very much thank you to all the participants. So what we are going to do, we are just sharing the feedback for this webinar in the chat box. Just fill that form because that will be requiring for e-certificates also, because we are providing the certificates to only those participants who are staying back with us. So here's the form link. This form is open for I think 15-20 minutes only. So just fill that form and fill the details carefully, and you'll get your certificates in a day or two. By Monday, you will get your certificates on your email ID only. So ma'am, a very thank you to you that you have spent your precious time with us. And it was a great session. At least I have learned a lot.
Thank you everyone for having me. Manali ma'am, Nirmal sir, as well as I would like to thank Dr. MC Saxena Group of Colleges for providing me this opportunity. Thank you everyone and have a good day. Bye.
Pleasure ma'am. Bye.